Okay, now, not everything is a perfect square. For example, 92 is not on our chart. So what we have to do is think what 92 is in between. Well, if we go back to our chart, 92, it's really close to 100, so it's smaller than 100, it's bigger than 81, so it's going to be in between the numbers 9 and 10. Now, if you're not sure, your calculator will do an estimation if you type it in. So square root of 92, you type in a non-perfect square and it'll give you the estimation 9.59, all those numbers, which is in between 9 and 10. Some of the questions you may get asked are going to be about where the square root is or what it's in between. Sometimes they'll ask you what is the closer number. So if it was 9.5, 10 would be the closer value. Now, for 24, square root of 24 is really close to square root of 25, but it's not quite there. So it's in between 4 and 5. 4 times 4 is 16. It's bigger than 16. 5 times 5 is 25. It is smaller than 25. And we should see it's a lot closer to the 5 than it is to the 4. Square root of 247, don't remember, so I'm going to check. 247, okay, it's bigger than 225, smaller than 256, so it's in between 15 and 16. And this one is going to be a lot closer to 16 than it is to 15. Last one, square root of 136. Let's see, that's going to be in between 11 and 12. And it's a lot closer to the 12 than it is to the 11. So that is estimating between two numbers. Now, another thing we could do when you have the square root of a number that's not a perfect square, you can have a rational square root. So now, irrational square roots can be simplified. So we can divide out perfect squares and rewrite what's left. So all of these are irrational square roots. And I'm going to show you how we can simplify those. So let's take our first example, 63. Well, if we look from our first page, 63... it's not a perfect square. It's really close to 64, though. So it's in between 7 and 8 is the whole number value. But what we want to do is we want to divide out a perfect square that can go in there. So let's look at numbers that could potentially go into 63. We know 8 times 8, so it's going to be all these numbers that are smaller than that, right? What about 9? Let's try 9. So 63 divided by 9 goes in there 7 times. So what you do is you divide by the square root. So write out whatever's left is still inside the radical. And then when we take out a perfect square, we're only left out with one of the roots. So 9 divided by 3 would give us 3 left. So another way of writing it is 3 square root of 7. This is where it's going to be really helpful to either have these memorized or just test function and play with your chart a little bit. Now, square root of 98. Well, it's really close to 10 times 10, so let's look at the perfect squares under 10. You know what? It's even, so let's try dividing out by 4. So 98 divided by 4. 4 does not go in there evenly, so let's try a different one. We want to try an even number. Let's try 16. 98 divided by 16. Nope, that doesn't go in there evenly either. 98 divided by 36. Nope, that doesn't go in there. What about divided by 3? Or sorry, 98 divided by 9. Nope, that doesn't go in there. So we just keep trying until we get one that works. Ah, that one does work. 98 divided by 49, which is 7 squared, right? So there's going to be 2 left over inside the radical, and then 49, the square root of that is 7. So we pulled out a 7 square root of 2. Sometimes you'll get one that comes out to a perfect square. 256 is a perfect square. We remember that one, that's 16 squared, so this is just 16. 2 square root of 48. They already have a 2 pulled out. So square root of 48 is going to be close to 49, so let's try all the ones underneath that. Let's try, you know what, let's try 4. So if I divide 48 by 4, I'd have 12 left over. And 2 times 2. Well, I can divide 4 out of 12 as well. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And bring out another 2. Well, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, so this is 8 square root of 3. We have a few more examples. Let's just try to get these done together. I want you to try 17 and 18, just like what we did on the rest of these. Push pause in the middle until you've done them. Push play when you're ready to see the answer. Push pause now. Alright, so on this one, I looked through and I saw the biggest number I could divide out that was perfect square was 36. And you can just plug them in one at a time. You can see on my calculator, I was plugging in one at a time until I got one that matched. 72 divided by 36 was 2. So the 2 is left over in the radical. Whatever doesn't divide out is left over in the radical. I pulled out the 6 to the outside. 5 times 6 is 30. Did the same thing here on 18. I looked and I saw the biggest number I could divide out was 36. 216 divided by 36 is 6 left over. And then 36, the square root of that is 6. So we pulled out the 6. 19 and 20, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and work these out real quick. So ignore the negative 3. Handle this last. Let's find the square root of 192. It's not a perfect square, so let's go ahead and try 192 divided by 64. Let's try even numbers. And it went in there 3 times. So square root of 3 is left over. Square root of 64 is 8, so it's negative 3 times 8. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. And there's our answer. $25.20. Let's try a really big number. Let's try that divided by 625. Nope, that one doesn't go in there. Let's try now maybe by 20. So 400. And you can keep on going until you get one that's even. Let's try now 15. So 225. Ooh, we're getting closer. Let's try one moment. Sorry, that one took a while, so I went ahead and paused it. First, I was having trouble getting a large number, so I started out with a small number. I divided it by 4, and I got 630. Well, when I pull out 4, square root of 4 is 2. 2 goes to the outside. Then I did 630. I divided by 9. I got 70 left over. I pulled out the 3 from the 9. And then I tested it. I did 3 times 2, which is 6, square root of 70. And I tested that against the answer of the square root of 2520. And since they both came out the same, this is the simplest form we got. So 6 square root of 70. One moment, let me go over what to do on your assignment. Okay, this is the assignment. Some of these are perfect squares, some of these are not. What you're going to do is simplify them all out, just like what we did on those last few notes. and there's 22 problems, okay? I highly recommend you use a calculator for this, but I want the simplified term. I do not want the decimal term. All right? Good luck on your assignment.